Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Buy up, buy up. In the Menudo style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight to the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that the gun is kicking. And I appreciate all your support, man. I'm very humbled by it. So, in the words of Mickey Mouse,
that's gonna hold you.
that's gonna hold you, South Park Mexican. SPM was denied parole, and I seen it coming. I didn't think he was gonna be let out into a society as fucked up as it is right now. In society, there's a lot of people that are just out there. I mean, we're in a corrupt world right now. There's a lot going on in this world. And I would be damned if the parole board released a monster to the streets. Now, I know there's a lot of people saying, damn, Gun, you're judging him. You haven't seen this. You haven't seen that. He was set up. Okay, look. How many chances does a man have to have before you realize that he has something wrong with his mind? Okay, before you realize that, hey, just maybe, just maybe, he did or was involved in some of the things they said he did. Whatever you want to believe, the parole board in Texas denied his release. And I'm going to explain to you why they denied his release. Dubs made a video on it a while back, and I said the same thing. And it was this. When you go to a parole board, and I know a little bit about a parole board, right? When I was in the YA and the Youth Authority, I used to help people, learn social thinking skills and prepare for board because I had went to board and been shot down a couple times. And I'll tell you right now, in order to even be eligible for them to even contemplate and think about letting you and releasing you to society, you have to show that you've took initiative. First of all, you have to show that you've took accountability for your crime, meaning you have to admit your crime. Whether you're innocent or guilty, if you're going before a parole board, they don't care. They're not the judge. They don't care if you're innocent, if you were framed, if it's all a big conspiracy theory to get one Mexican locked up forever, right? They don't care about all that. All they care about is that you admit guilt and show them how since you've been incarcerated, you have changed. You have become a changed man. You will no longer be a threat to the society and to the community and to kids, basically, because in South Park Mexican's case, he was charged with some charged and convicted of some pretty heinous crimes. Now, there's a lot of people that support South Park Mexican because he's a good rapper, right? Or because they believe he was set up, or what they always tell me, in my life, there was a guy arguing the point too. You just don't know. You're not from out here. You just don't know. You're right. I just don't know. One thing I do know is he had a trial, a fair trial. He was convicted. He had an appeal. It wasn't overturned. He sat down for over 20-something years, and then when he went to board, they denied him. So that's a lot. They see a lot of the evidence and a lot of the things that the public don't see that makes them say, makes them wonder. I've never been a fan of South Park Mexican. I've never really listened to his music. I guess when his music came out, I was too busy doing prison time or dealing with the baby mom or probably boning a torta, on her waterbed. So I just never really paid attention to what he had going on. Shout out to Texas, though. I will say this. There's some great rappers that come out of Texas. There's some great gente that come out of Texas. I got people in San Antonio. I got people in El Paso. I got love for Texas, Hey, everything for Salinas. But when it comes to South Park Mexican, what I do know of him, I dislike. I don't care if he was part of a movement that was bringing the Mexicano rap game up to par in Texas. I could care less about rap music, period. R&B's better. I'll just be real with you, right? I could care less about hip hop. But at the end of the day, I recognize when a Mexicano is making moves, making those power moves, wearing shower shoes, and I'm proud of it, right? But this guy, to me, is despicable. And no one can change my mind on it. No one. Even if paperwork can't, he makes my fucking neck itch just thinking about him. Even if people could show or prove that he's an innocent man, I would still be a little leery. And let me explain to you why I'd be a little leery and why I believe the parole board was leery. What a lot of people don't talk about, everyone, you heard the story about what he's convicted for. A 9-year-old. Okay, that right there in itself, there's always been people that said the parents were setting him up. It was a big setup. They wanted money, this, and that, que la chingada. Okay, I hear you. Man. But I don't feel you. Okay, because that wasn't the only time this guy had any accusations of being with someone underage. Okay, there's the club incident, right, where a 14-year-old was claiming she was 18 and in a club, and this guy in a drunken stupor made a mistake. He was inebriated. He made a mistake. Not a million other motherfuckers won't, but he made a mistake. He made a mistake that Baby Bash said he would have never made, right? Which is his homeboy. But he made a mistake, and he got with this young-looking girl, and they had a child together. Now, it's too late to comb that one over, to sweep that one under the rug. It just is what it is. Are people entitled to make mistakes? Was he bamboozled or tricked? I guess we'll give him that one. He was tricked. Okay. And this 9-year-old one, I guess he didn't do that. He was set up because, he was a big time, whatever he was, rapper, and they just wanted him out the way because he was doing too much for the Mexican community, which I really didn't see him doing much for the Mexican community. But again, like they said, I wasn't out there in Houston, Texas. I don't know him. Okay. So what about all these other different allegations of him getting caught with minors? Do you guys understand or know? I don't know if you guys know this, but while on bail for these charges that he got convicted on, he was caught in a motel room with 2 14-year-olds. Now, I don't know. Maybe they lied to him again. Maybe he was drunk and they lied to him again and he couldn't tell the lighting was off or whatever. I've heard people say they make so many excuses for this guy. And this is the way I feel. If you know for damn sure that this guy is innocent, why the fuck isn't he out by now? There's a lot of legal lawyers, and this guy has money, obviously. Dope House Records is still going. So I'm sure they could scrounge up, and with all the support he has, there's enough money they can get together to get, a second look or a third look or a fourth look, because he's already had the second and third look. You can get a lot of people looking into his case to help overturn this case. But the fact of the matter is, there's nothing they could do to overturn it because it happened, man. Unfortunately, all his fans that are out there, this man is 50-some years old. What'd you guys expect? Him to get out on parole and take over the world? It's not going to happen. Okay, Mexican T holds that spot. It just is not going to happen. He's an older guy at this point, and he should be more focused, if he was ever to get out, on his family and building a relationship with his children. He has an estranged child out there, his son, who, if you watch his son's videos from time to time, his son even calls his dad a weirdo. It's crazy, right? Now, the daughter, she, of course, is for her father, and she's daddy's girl. I recognize that. You don't want to believe that your parent is a monster. You don't want to believe that your parent is capable of doing something as obscene as what South Park Mexican was tried and convicted for. But the truth is, I'm sorry. He would have been out a long time ago. He would have got action. If there was any way to show or prove that there was some skepticism there, that he was tried and convicted on just hearsay or lies, believe he would have had a second, third, and fourth chance. But he didn't get that. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because there was enough evidence, a preponderance of evidence to convict someone. As men, it's tough being a man. Let me explain to you why. First of all, you have to work and break bread for your family. You have to put in work if you want to have a good family. You have to, if you want a woman, a relationship, you have to make that woman feel financially secure as well as loved and protected, right? So being a man is not easy unless you're a bad man. And, when you have children, when you've brought children into this world, you have responsibility, man. It's a lot of hard work. Men and women do it all the time, but when you as a person, as a man, get into a situation like being with a 13 or 14-year-old and that lied to you, you should learn from that experience, right? I think you would learn. Most men don't go through that ever. But, it's not far-fetched to say that, women do lie and manipulate, just like men lie and manipulate, right? And say, so you get manipulated, you make a mistake, you get a youngster pregnant. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that's what this guy did. Would he learn from his mistakes? Why would he be caught again with the youngster and again with the youngster and again in a hotel room with two youngsters? Like, don't you see the pattern there? Don't you see exactly what the board sees, what the board is privy to? Now, at the end of the day, whether you like to believe it or not, and I'm not a hater and I'm not trying to smut this guy's name up, he's a convicted sex offender. That's just it, okay? And nothing's ever going to change that, unless he hires a good lawyer to get him out. There was a lot of his family and a lot of his people that turned their back on him because they knew without a shredded doubt, man, that this guy was the Mexican monster, not David Benavides, right? Now, there's a lot of people in Texas that support him, will forever support him no matter what, because they truly believe in his innocence and they truly believe in the myth of South Park Mexican. And I've heard some of his music. He was a decent rapper, man. He was pretty good. But all that goes out the window when he's doing wild shit with underage people, okay? Now, regardless of if you support him or not, let it go. The board's not letting him go. Okay, he went to the parole board, and it was a big deal a couple months ago. Oh man, the free the Mex. The Mex is getting out. He's going to take over the rap game. A 50-year-old man's going to get out and just take over the game. And he was making these rap songs, and people were prepared for him to get out. And of course, you never hate on a person getting out of prison, but when a person is in prison for the crimes that he is in prison for, tried and convicted, I don't know. You have to think to yourself like this. Would you want your children around him? Even if you think he's innocent, would you still want your children around? Would you take that chance? Would you take that chance? Not a lot of people would. Grown men don't take chances like that. Grown men don't get themselves in situations over and over and over again like this guy did. Grown men don't do that pattern, right? They're not supposed to. Weirdos do. This guy is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to representing the Mexican people. He don't represent me. He don't represent Texas, because there's a lot of solid people that already know what time it is. And there's a lot of confused people that, regardless if he even say he gets out and he admits it, okay, I did it, and he does that to get out, are you still going to rock with them? Or are you going to say, oh, he just admitted it so he can get out? No grown man, I don't give a fuck if he has to do life, admits that type of shit. You don't want that on your conscience. You don't want that on your plate. But people will still support him. That's the weird world we live in. They don't care, right? They always compare him to Tupac. Well, you listen to Tupac. This is a totally different situation. And I think we all know this. Tupac wasn't sleeping with 13 and 14-year-olds. Okay? Tupac wasn't doing weird things with a 9-year-old. Okay? Tupac was never in that situation. Tupac found himself in a situation. You can look up his case. I'm not going to explain it and let you figure that out. With this man, if it was just a one-time thing, I would say this. Oh, it's never good, not even one time. But I would say this. Maybe he was set up. Maybe the family wanted money and they set him up. Maybe this and maybe that. But when you keep getting caught up with youngsters, there is no maybe. Maybe you're just weird, man. Maybe you need medication. Maybe you need to just admit what the fuck you did and sit down forever. Anyways, he goes to parole board the other day and they deny him. So now his next hearing, his next eligibility date will be in 2028. And I'll tell you guys what's up right now, straight up. You're going to hear my prediction. He's not going to get out in 2028 unless he admits guilt. For all you fans out there and people that support South Park Mexican, I don't hate you, man. I think you're a little confused. A lot of people say I'm confused. I don't think so. I don't think so. But again, you might not think so either. We're entitled to not think so. But I think this. I think he's going to sit down for the duration. And the reason why I think he's going to sit down until his 40 years are up is because he is not admitting guilt. He still wants to be the cool guy. If he was a cool guy, if he was cool, right? If he truly didn't do this, then why is he sitting down in protective custody right now? That's just an admittance to guilt right there. Think about it, okay? Why are they keeping him away from the general population? Because he will be hurt because of his charges. No one believes the bullshit, okay? And the parole board didn't buy it either. When you go to a parole board, you got to understand it's different from court. See, in court, you got a lawyer to speak up in your behalf. You got the district attorney trying to prosecute you. They're going to say, give their side of the story. There's always a few sides of the story. Your side, their side, and the real side, right? Everyone's trying to do what they can do to get out. Obviously, this guy didn't do enough in court to prove that he was innocent because he got convicted and given 40 years. You know, when I would have been screaming in that court at the top of my lungs, man, I'm innocent, man, screaming and kicking it. You know, there's no way you're going to take me in for this. This man just accepted it. And, you know, people, oh, he's a real one. He accepted it. He accepted a sex case? That's crazy. You don't accept that. I don't give a fuck. I'm fighting, screaming, kicking. You don't get me on all kinds of different shit because I'm going to be socking judge. I mean, it's just crazy. I'm just telling you how I would feel. You know, no way, Jose. But yes, Carlos. So Carlos Coy, South Park Mexican, just took it on the chin, right, and sat down for 20-something years and has denied the fact that he ever did this. Well, when you go to a parole board, denial equals denial. Okay? I said, okay. Like Charlie, what is it? Cholo Juan says. I was about to say like Carlos Coy says. No, he goes, right? That's what he says. Look, let me tell you something right now. He's in a cell with his heart hurting. But there's victims out there, people that were taken advantage of. Their hearts have been hurting. You know, you devastate people. You change their lives, man, when you take advantage of them. You know, let's be real. South Park Mexican had a little bit of fame locally, maybe a little bit nationally. I didn't really hear about him till later, but I was young. He had money. He had a record label. He was doing his thing right there in Texas, right? He was swanging on them things. But he had some weird things in his closet. Okay? And people steady try to justify it. He steady tries to justify it. But he went before the parole board and there was no justification for his actions. See, because he doesn't want to admit guilt. He doesn't want to tell the truth. He doesn't want his last hangers-on, the people that support him, to say, wow, motherfucker, you did that. Because what type of situation does that put you in as a fan? If you're a supporter of South Park Mexican, I don't hate you. I think you're
what's wrong with you, right?
But I don't hate you. But I'll say this, right? What happens if he does admit guilt? What happens if he does say, all right, I did it? Are you still gonna fuck with him? Or are you gonna still fucking support him and cover for him? You know, the parole board doesn't buy it. They want to see change. They don't want to let a monster out to society. Imagine if this guy really is guilty. Let's just say he is. I mean, he's been given a gang of chances and he's found guilty at every fucking different turn. Do you honestly, really in your heart think that there's a big conspiracy to keep Carlos Coy locked up? Do you think he's the Antichrist or the Messiah? Do you think like he's going to change the world with his music? Because he's not. There's no reason for them to set him up. There's no reason. There's a lot of guys out here balling, really having influence in neighborhoods, really gang members that really have influence in their hoods and their barrios. They get RICOs and all that, right? Don't you think that if they know, the feds know, people know, law enforcement knows. Don't you think they would just set that guy up and get him out the fucking way? He has a lot of influence. Why would they do it to a fucking local Texas rapper? Oh, you don't know, man. So the feds were involved. There's a big conspiracy. No, this guy does weird shit to children. That's the fucking straight up. That's the fact. The fact is he's been given so many chances, man, and he's been denied at every pass. And there's a reason for that, man. So when people say you need to really check the paperwork, I have. And it's weirder than you think. Okay? Look, I know there's a lot of people that support him as a friend or they support him for whatever reason. But let's just cut through the bullshit right now. He is a tried and convicted SO, or is that how you say it? SO and SO. That vato right there, you know? Anyways, he went to parole. They denied him. 2028 is his next hearing. They will deny him unless he admits guilt. And why would they do that? Because how can he show positive change if he doesn't take accountability? They're not going to let a man out like that, especially in the state of Texas. They're not playing, man. They will hold you accountable. You know, if for fucking whatever miracle, it's un milagro, right? One miracle that this guy is innocent of all the different things that he's been involved in. It's unfortunate. But let's be real here. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. And the last thing I ever want to see is a brown man sit down in prison forever for something he didn't do. Or even for a mistake, right? But how can you keep making the same type of mistakes over and over and over again and call it a mistake? How can people support that? I'll never get it because he raps good. That gay eye bone chick's good. Support that. You know what I mean? Anyways, with that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. South Park Mexican is going to sit down. That'll hold him for the duration, man. 2028, he'll go back before the board. Do I think he's getting out? No. What do you think? Let me know, man. Or I know there's gonna be a whole bunch of haters in there. Oh man, you don't know, man. Free the Mex, free the Mex. Man, there's a lot of other people that are innocent sitting in prison right now that don't have these weird charges that should be getting freed. Not this fucking baboso. You already know what it is, man. Heavy's is gonna be the head that wears the crown. I'm gonna continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people, except for this baboso. He's where he needs to be. Period. Bang bang.